Welcome to Embracing Diversity. I'm here with my two volunteers, Amanda and Julianne, and we just wanted to stop by and have some conversation surrounding the Kinan interview that we did with Melanie and Said. It was such a really interesting video, and it prompted a lot of thoughts and ideas within us, and I feel like it may have prompted some ideas within you guys. So feel free. This is not a live. That was our intent. Apologize for the technical difficulties. But if you want to join in the conversation, please comment on the bottom. And if you have any ideas, anything that you would like to ask, leave that there too, and we'll try to respond. All right. So I'm just gonna open it up. So ladies, we did the interview with the Kinans. What stood out to you?
They were just so cute. Such a cute couple. I was like looking at them like goals.
Yeah.
You know, y'all are goals because they were so great in the way they communicated with each other.
Yep.
It was so sweet watching how they interacted with each other and like letting each other speak first. It's like, do you want to go first? Do you want to go first? Do you want to tell the story of how we met?
You saw
hearing each side, you know, because they really came from two different worlds, and I mean they make this beautiful couple. So it was so heartwarming.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw the love that they had for each other. Like the moment they walked in, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
So
I saw that too. And Julian, I agree with you when you said it was like seeing goals. Like,
like my goals. Yes.
Yeah, like just the way, you know, they communicated with each other, but even the way like their partnership works, it's like they have a real like acceptance of who the other person is without trying to change that person. They're not each other's projects. They love each other the way they are. And yeah, and I'm sure that has come with a lot of, I mean, marriages like that don't come with ease. So I'm sure they've had some stuff to get through, you know.
Oh yeah, we kind of heard a little bit about that too, because it was really interesting, of course, at the beginning to hear like, oh, well, it took 3 years for them to even just get married in the first place, because they had some, like, familial issues to work out.
You know, family and it was, it was interesting.
A lot, yeah. I mean, it was a lot to work out, I'm sure, just from listening to them. But it was kind of interesting to hear, like, it wasn't just the beginning that they had to, you know, really work together to stand beside each other and get through. Because at the end, I mean, it kind of broke my heart a little bit when, you know, Said was talking about how Melanie had cancer.
Yeah.
And I could tell, you know, you watch, and it was hard for him to talk about too.
Yeah.
And it's so sad, and it's so amazing too that they've, you know, stayed together through all of these struggles, and they've overcome them together. They raised a family together. Like, that is amazing.
And it shows how strong they are individually. You know, as well as how strong they are together. I believe when you're in a relationship, you know, you have to prepare yourself for the ups and the downs. So you know what you are willing to, or what you can take and what you can deal with. And they clearly showed that they were able, they wanted to get through any and everything together. Yeah. So it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I have a question, I guess. It's like, do you guys think that the trials, because they, like you said, Julian, they had 3 years and a lot of things to get through before they could even get married, much less the marriage itself. And she even touched on that too, because she was like, they didn't live together. And then once they were married, she was like, oh, we're together all the time. You know? Like, do you think that like the struggle, those 3 years kind of prepared them, or could prepare couples in general, I guess, for like that lifetime journey of, you know, struggling and getting through and fighting for each other with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the really good times are really great times when you can really appreciate them. And in order for you to appreciate the good times, you kind of have to go through some bad times too.
Yeah.
So especially at the beginning of a relationship, it's all, you know, happy, it's all lovey-dovey. And I think especially for Melanie and Said, they had to kind of, you know, go through that a little quicker than some other couples, probably just because they did have to go through so many familial struggles, and that made them stronger as a couple without them even, you know, being married in the first place. They had to really understand, like, is this a person I'm willing to go through all this work for?
Yeah.
Am I willing to work this hard just to be with this person? And obviously the answer was yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And yeah, you think about it, like, you know, you think about their backgrounds, where they come from. It's like, oh my God, this person is from a completely different world than I am, right? Yeah. And they say opposite attracts, right? So, but it will also test you, okay?
Yes.
It will also test you, and they just sitting there and listening to them talk to each other. And I mentioned about the nonverbal cues from the time they walked in, and he sat at the head of the table, and she was, you know, sat beside him, and the entire time as he spoke, she could not take her eyes off of him. Like, it was like you saw the love in her eyes. Mm-hmm. You saw it, like, yeah, he's mine.
Yeah. Right? That's her person. That's his person, you know?
Yeah.
It was so cute. So sweet.
I love that, like, they said they met the 13th of February, and the next day was Valentine's Day. So like that night, you know, they were talking all night, and then he bought her a Valentine's gift the next day. That's awesome.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Because you think about most relationships, if you start a relationship right before a holiday, it's kind of that, like, skepticism, like, do I buy something? I mean, I just met this person, right?
Right.
Like, it kind of, like, it's scary at a thought, and it's like, oh my God, like, you know, I met this person, but should I? It's Valentine's Day. Should I buy them? I don't want them to think I'm not interested, but it's so early. Like, you know, it's the pressure. Like, you know, you think about the pressure, like, wow. And if, like, for him to, you know, just buy her a car or something so simple that had a meaningful impact, it was like, okay, he knew what he wanted.
A little bit goes a long way. It really does. You know, just open that car door, you know?
Just open that car door.
Give me a card. Yes. It's the little things. But, you know, over time, they really add up. So I think that's obviously, like, evident with them too, because it's not just the big gestures, but it's just, you know, the small things, like just being there, you know, just staying there and supporting me and holding me up when I literally can't stand. And I think that's what I go back to, you know, when Melanie had cancer, and it was just amazing that they, you know, passed that trial, and they stood you know, they really passed that test, because it was, I'm sure it just sounded like it was big.
True test.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that many people can say that they have the strength to deal with, you know, something like that.
Right.
The strength to fight through is a lot. It's a lot. And some other things that they had to, I was thinking today, like, some other things that they had to, I guess, I don't know, fight through would be the right word, but to overcome, to be flexible in would be a better word. You know, is like things like language and culture and religion that they talked about. Where are we going to live?
Yeah.
Are we going to live in Iran? Are we going to live in the United States?
Yeah.
You know, him learning English and her trying to pick up a little bit of his language and, you know, and all of that. And then even like persuading their parents. And then at the beginning, they were talking about how it was hard to persuade both sides of their families. But then during the middle of the interview, she said that he lived with her mother and she loved him. And right?
Yes, that was so cute. He actually like lived with her mom for a time, and it was just like this relationship. It just worked out, you know, on both ends, and they got a lot closer from that. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I love that. You know, that they didn't give up, but also the people around them had to make adjustments too. Like they had to learn the person, not just the categories that they thought were or were not acceptable.
Right.
They had to learn the person, and I think that's what we all have to do. You know, we can't.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to, you know, look at someone because of what we think they are.
And with history or stigma and stereotypes and prejudice, and you know, you have to, I mean, we're all still individual, you know. Yes, I come from this background, but I'm still an individual person, and I have my own mindset. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at them as individual. I love the part, you know, you look at like different dynamics of the family, and I love how she talked about how, you know, her uncles, they stood in place of her father, right? So it's like, you know, we still gonna grill you. We still gonna grill you. We still gonna grill you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And should have.
Yeah. So.
Anybody bring up, just in case any of my uncles are watching this, grill away. Like, for real. Like, yeah, I mean, you gotta protect, and that's especially if you're standing in the place of a father. That's the job.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Speaking of fathers, it was really interesting hearing them talk about like having kids themselves. Because, you know, at first, you know, before they had kids, Melanie said she wanted like, or no, maybe Said he wanted like how many kids?
Like 6 or 7.
And then they ended up with 2. Yeah. And it was like, we're done. Like,
like, you know what?
We stopped there.
I thought I wanted that.
Right.
But
yeah.
I was like, we stopped at 2. I was like, yeah. And it just goes to show, like, you can plan for something, and I mean, plans don't always go the way you want. But it's a beautiful, you know, way to look at it, is that at least, you know, they were going through it all together.
Right.
So, and I thought it was really interesting hearing about they had 7 years together, just married, before having any kids at all.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just kind of interesting because, you know, a lot of times I think we see people who get married and immediately start having children, and it's more of a novel idea. I think nowadays that everybody's having to, you know, everybody's waiting to have children. So it was kind of interesting to see how it worked out for them, because they really took that time. You know, they had the 3 years before they were married, and then the 7 years when they were just married. You know, that's 10 years together without any children, to really cement that relationship. And I was like, okay, I see. You know,
7 years is you think of like, wow, that was a long time to, you know, build a foundation with it's just me and him, or me and her. Like, we're in this together. You know, because we come from different backgrounds, we're still learning each other. You know, and there's still, you know, certain things we have to overcome, and, you know, just to make sure before we bring another life in this, we sort of have it figured out. Like, we never completely have it all figured out, but
like, we're ready.
You know,
right.